www.afa.net.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Tariffs against dozens of countries went into effect at midnight, including 104% tariffs President Trump set against China, as the president says tariffs will boost manufacturing in the U.S. In Arkansas, Republican Senator Tom Cotton on why it's so important to have factories in the U.S.
We want to get redundant, resilient capacity here in the United States. So whatever might happen in a conflict in the Western Pacific with Taiwan, we know that we have semiconductors which are vital to the modern electronic digital economy.
Louisiana Senator John Kennedy says the president achieved his goal.
We would not be in this situation today had he not been a pit bull. By that I mean there are 195 countries in the world, 70 are begging him to make a deal to lower tariffs.
The Supreme Court on Monday granted President Trump's request to vacate a lower court's ruling barring the administration from deporting illegal alien gang members from the U.S., marking a significant victory for the administration as it advances key immigration priorities.
We have judges that wanted the very evil gang members from Trendy, Iroquois, and MS-13. They didn't want them taken out of the country and put in very powerful prisons. But we've been fortunately winning those cases. But we have judges that are out of control that say, oh, bring them back, bring them back. We don't want them back.
And White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said,
this was a smackdown to a rogue left-wing, low-level district court judge who have relentlessly tried to stop President Trump from using his core constitutional powers as head of the executive branch and as commander-in-chief.
Health and Human Services Director Robert F. Kennedy Jr. visited Arizona yesterday, promoting his Make America Healthy Again agenda. After 2 health bills passed in Arizona's Senate, the bills would get rid of processed foods in public schools and prohibit food stamp recipients from buying sodas.
What we're doing to our children is criminal. Why are we paying for sugar drinks that are poisoning our kids and giving them diabetes? The taxpayer should not be paying that in a nutrition program.
Maricopa County Superintendent Shelley Boggs was at the meeting with Kennedy and others.
It's crazy and very unfortunate that we're at this point in our country that we have to pass a bill in order to ensure we're not poisoning our kids.
Harvard has caused a stir after the university launched a remedial math course. Chris Woodward has more.
Harvard is an Ivy League institution that prides itself on having a very rigorous application process. So for them to be teaching remedial math is a surprise to people like Jonathan Butcher of the Heritage Foundation.
They certainly, according to their admissions process, have the top of the high school graduates who are applying. I think there is evidence across the K-12 space in both reading and math that K-12 schools are not preparing students to move into higher education. The reading scores and the math scores from earlier this year were very disheartening and evidence of the way in which students have been struggling since the pandemic.
AFN is seeking comment from Harvard. In the meantime, if the university is doing this, Butcher is not ruling out another Ivy League school doing the same or thinking of moving in that direction.
It is very likely, and there is research on the degree to which colleges have to offer remedial coursework, not just in math, but also in math. I think it's evidence, too, of the schools that ditched entrance exam requirements, such as taking the ACT or the SAT, are now realizing that just relying on grades, so GPA and coursework, is not enough to demonstrate that a student is ready.
I'm Chris Woodward.
President Trump speaking at the National Republican Congressional Committee dinner last night, where he touts his recent executive action lifting restrictions on coal mining put in place by Joe Biden.
Coal is the most powerful thing. We have more of it than any. We have more liquid gold under our feet, oil and gas, and we have more coal than any other country.
And oil prices fell for a 5th day today to the lowest since February 2021. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello, this is Ann from Michigan. I've been a caregiver for my dad and now a guardian. I can remember right where I was on the highway when I came upon your channel. I live alone now after my husband of 36 years left me. The best medicine to combat my deep sadness and feeling of being used and then pushed aside is my family and AFR. Thank you so much. I love you.
In honor of Brother Don Wildman and his wife Linda, it's Founders Day on American Family Radio. It's been more than 40 years since Reverend Don Wildman felt a calling from the Lord and began pouring all his energy and resources into starting a new ministry. Since then, countless lives have been touched by God through AFA and AFR.
The only promise I've ever made to people who give us money, that is, we'll be the best stewards of their money, their gifts, as we can be.
To help us honor Brother Don's hard work and faithfulness to the Lord, you can call 877-616-2396 and make a pledge of support to AFR. That's 877-616-2396. Or give online at afr.net. It's day 2 of Share-a-thon, and it's Founders Day on American Family Radio.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Today's Issues is the name of the program, but we're in Share-a-thon yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Battagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Wesley Wildman.
877-616-2396.
That's good.
Number to
That's
call.
the number to call. And Fred Jackson. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning to you.
I want to personally thank somebody who gave.
Yeah.
I want to thank Carlin from Sandstone, Virginia, because he moved us from 6,666 total pledges to 6,667.
Yes. Yes.
Carlin, thank you.
Carlin.
I did
Yes.
not want to look at that on my computer screen. It wasn't just 666. It was 6666.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Carlin.
Yeah, thank you, brother. As Ed said, for moving. We're not superstitious or anything,
But
here, but 666 is the Bible, is a number you don't want to see on your Rolodex.
And if
All
you
right.
get a call and your phone IDs the number 666, do not answer.
Do not.
It's worse than a car warranty ad.
Bada boom.
that's a good
All right,
catch.
Share-a-thon it is on American Family Radio. Okay, people, listen unto me. It's time for you to make a pledge, and you can double your giving. All right? Here's what I mean by that. We have a $50,000 match going on until the top of the hour, as in 11 o'clock Central Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. So if up to the $50,000 mark, right, which people have some other listeners have generously given to give us that amount of money, and I know one of them personally, but they've given us and they challenged our other listeners to match it. Is that fair?
Yeah, listen, I don't like you to, I don't want to make my giving public, Tim.
Oh, I'm not.
You said you knew someone personally.
I knew someone, but was I looking at you? Oh, you're going to get
Not
50 grand?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd go over well at my house.
All right. You don't
First
make
of all,
that
I have
much
to-
money.
I
I
have to
know.
get it.
I see your
Don't
check.
make that.
Wait, let me see whether they took cash out of my
All right.
wallet this morning.
But I do have a lottery ticket.
That's right.
Oh, donate it to AFA.
All right. So
Just kidding, folks.
But that challenge goes up until 11 a.m.
that's right. So let me give the phone number. So if you call and you make a pledge now until 11, whatever you call and pledge will be doubled. Will be doubled. So, hey, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. Let me give you the phone number.
877.
Let me, Wesley, give them the phone number to call and make that pledge to help us meet this $50,000 match.
Yeah, it would meet it up until $50,000. 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396, or visit afr.net.
And so you can say to the person who answers the phone when you call that number, hey, I want to have this donation help you meet that match.
That's right. Yep.
Listen, folks, I just want to let you know, by the way, the number again that Wesley so eloquently told you.
It was eloquent.
It was eloquent.
Huh?
The number to give during our spring share-a-thon is 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. The theme of our share-a-thon this spring is Pour Your Spirit Out. It's from Isaiah 44, verse 3, where God is saying, I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. We do have spring share-a-thon premiums available unto you, as Tim would say. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive a book written by Stephen McDowell. The title is The Bible, Divine or Human. If you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will not only receive the book by Stephen McDowell,
here we go,
but our AFR embossed Padfolio, which is, I was talking to Brother Bert Harper just about a half hour ago, and Bobby Rosa, and I don't remember which one of them said, they said this Padfolio is versatile. It zips up. It is very nice, pleather exterior. And inside, you can put a notepad and a pen, or you could put like a small Kindle in there, other device. If you want to hide something from your spouse.
I wouldn't trap your Kindle in there. I think that would hurt.
Your Kindle?
You get your Kindle strapped in that Padfolio. By the way, I don't know about everybody else, but have you checked your Padfolio this morning?
Well, I was going to say the only oleo I'm aware of is a portfolio.
That's what he was too.
Yeah.
Your Padfolios are still going down.
Well, now that I've learned there's a Padfolio, is there any other oleos? You got a portfolio, Padfolio?
Down.
Is
there any other oleos?
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, you got
Oleos can be pretty popular.
Huh?
So,
what can be pretty popular?
Oleos. So Padfolio, portfolio. He was asking whether there were other words
more oleos
that have oleos in.
Oleos, yeah. Well, there's a ride at Disney World. You get on the oleo.
Get on the oleo.
Yeah, but you take your chances.
You can get on the oleo, but can you get off?
You can't get off.
Let me give the number real quick.
All right.
877-616-2396 is the number to call for our spring share-a-thon. Yesterday started us off. Today, we are right in the middle, the thick of things. Tomorrow is the last day of our spring share-a-thon, 877-616-2396.
And no, we don't give stock tips.
No, we do not.
No, when you call that number, you're just calling to make a donation.
The best we can do, though, is give tariff advice. That's as close
well,
as
I was
we
going to
can
say,
get to economic or financial.
We considered different themes for our share-a-thon. And we chose Pour Your Spirit Out, which comes from Isaiah, right? We had thought about this theme, but it was voted down, A Time for Tariffs. And when we
prayed about it.
Yes, and when that was brought up at our meeting, it was just,
bad timing.
It was bad timing.
We all got a check in our spirit.
Yes, we did.
We didn't get one in the mail,
and
but we got a check in our spirit.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
A time for tariffs.
A time for tariffs. All right, having a little fun here on a Wednesday. You're listening to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. In all seriousness, we want to thank everybody who's called in and made a gift. Yesterday and this morning, we're hearing from all over the country, people who appreciate and benefit from the ministry here at American Family Radio. And it's just a blessing. It really is a blessing for us here. Oftentimes, radio is a one-way street, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We broadcast and
you listen.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But then when we're able to hear back from folks, hey, thank you. I heard this show, heard this Bible teaching program, whatever the case may be. It helped me. It helped my family. It keeps me focused on the Lord. Those things mean a lot to us.
We have a testimony we can get
what now?
to.
A listener. Let's hear one of those listener testimonies.
Hello, my name is Catherine, and I'm from Alger, Ohio. Several years ago, I tuned in 91.5, coming from Delphus. My home radios were all set to this station, and they have been on full-time, day and night. In 2021, my husband had a blood clot hit his brain, causing a stroke. I was determined to keep him home where things were familiar and he knew love. I had some help from the Veterans Comfort Keepers 2 days a week and later on from hospice. For 3 years, I watched as dementia gradually took away his abilities, and all the while AFR kept my spirit filled. I praised God for the strength I found as I would steal away and listen. Your station greatly ministered to me all through those years, and I am so thankful you are there. God bless you richly, and thank you.
That takes my breath away. Yeah. That's God is good. Well, what can you say? And folks, we're not the be all do all for the body of Christ. There are pastors, there were caregivers that helped this dear sister, but just to hear that we played a part in being used by God to strengthen her during just a very difficult time is just a blessing to be a part of it.
It's also the power of radio.
Yes.
There are other mediums obviously out there, but the power of radio reached through that household at a very, very difficult time. And American Family Radio, we're 24/7.
Yeah.
We never leave you. We're there every time you want to turn on that radio. It's going to be there. And you're going to have preaching programs. And I'm sure this lady in her testimony, at just the right time, there was a preaching program.
Yeah, right.
Whatever that program was. At just the right time when they needed particular types of information, AFR was there. Yeah. So God has blessed us with an incredible lineup of programs. We put it out there, and God puts it together with a need of an individual like this dear lady.
Amen.
Amen. Wesley, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to say one of the things I was thinking about as we were listening to that testimony is just to remind everyone else that's listening that we're here and we're not going anywhere.
Right.
We're coming up on 47, going on 48 years, a couple years out from celebrating our 50-year anniversary. And because of your gifts and because of your donation, because of your prayers and because of your support, and lastly, and most importantly for me, your engagement. I mean, our listening audience, they're engaged. When we hear from testimonies, I travel the country and meet our supporters, and I hear of how they are taking our print magazine, The Stand. They're taking our newsletter from the AFM in an email form, and they're forwarding it. They're handing it out. They're taking our information. They're trying to get more people engaged.
The films we produce.
Yeah, absolutely. AFS, American Family Studios, the films we produce, we are making an impact, and it's because of you. And we're here, and we're not going anywhere, and we're very grateful for your support. You can call in and help continue the work we're doing here at 877-616-2396, 877-616-2396, or visit AFR.net. We got a pledge going on. We have a
challenge.
Challenge.
It's a challenge.
A challenge. So a group of supporters has generously donated leading up to Share-a-thon, and they're now challenging you to come alongside them to support the work of AFA and AFR.
Come alongside.
Kind of sounds like the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes, come
pull up a chair.
Pull up a chair.
Come alongside.
Pull up your shoes.
It's our Founders Day. This is the middle day of Share-a-thon, is called Founders Day in honor of Brother Don Wildman and Miss Linda, his wife, who stood beside him through so many years of getting this ministry not only off the ground, but increasing in its impact. So it's our Founders Day $50,000 challenge. That is going for roughly another 40 minutes until 11 a.m. Central Time.
So double your giving.
The
up until $50,000.
The $50,000 challenge. So 877-616-2396, or you can give online at afr.net. I just want to add to give a thumbs up to what Wesley was saying, especially that last part where you said especially the engagement of our listeners, those who get to the various resources. Listen, we're not just here to talk.
Right.
We are here to equip and to activate. And if it wasn't for our listeners, who call members of Congress or who contact members of their own state governments or who contact Disney or who say something at this company or that company, AFA and AFR would not have the impact it has.
Yeah, we obviously are taking 3 days for Share-a-thon to fundraise, to raise money to take up an offering. So we're certainly doing that, and that's a priority right now. But as a ministry, as far as our mission goes, if we have to pick between the two, we'd much rather have your activism than your finances, because your activism is what distinguishingly makes the work we do different than a lot of other really good Christian ministries. But so thank you for your activism.
But we'll take both.
But we'll take both. That's right.
877-616-2396. Please be as generous as you can. It is our spring Share-a-thon, and the theme is Pour Your Spirit Out. And boy, do we need the Spirit of God poured out in our country. She is very sick spiritually.
All right, Fred, what is our first news story to cover?
Well, the first news story has to do with tariffs, and people are now familiar with the broad story here. But the big story this morning is to put it in hockey terms, there's a face-off going on between China and the United States. Mm-hmm. It's coming down to who's going to blink first. And so what's happened is just after midnight last night, so at 12:01 this morning, a new level of tariffs from the United States against China went into effect, 104% tariff.
We slapped harder.
We slapped hard.
Slapped hard with that tariff.
And then China came back and said, okay, we're upping our tariffs against U.S. goods coming into our country to 84%. Now, part of the big story this morning on this trade war is that China now has decided to target particular U.S. companies. So they're saying that Chinese companies are not going to be allowed to trade with particular U.S. companies. In other words, U.S. companies that may need raw materials from Chinese companies to build software, communication equipment, even military equipment. Those Chinese companies are now under orders from their government not to sell those goods to American companies. Also, American companies that ship particular kinds of goods to China. The Chinese government has said we're not taking those at all anymore. So tariffs are basically taxes on goods. Now they're not accepting the goods at all and not allowing Chinese companies to send us goods at all. So they've ramped it up a bit. It is really coming down, and the commentaries this morning that I'm hearing is they're asking the question, who is going to blink first? China is a huge, huge trading partner. All kinds of goods, the high-end goods, communication goods, but right down to clothing and toys, you name it.
What would be? I'm sorry for interrupting you, but what would be the other position would be that we provide a lot of funds for them too. I mean, there's a reason why we can even be at the table here as far as doing the tariff stuff, right?
Well, we trade stuff with them,
right?
Now, according to President Trump, I mean, they say China needs, for instance, they need energy supplies from the United States.
Okay.
Yesterday, Trump announced that he was taking the restrictions off of coal mining. China needs coal to drive their energy needs.
They import almost all their energy.
Yes.
From here?
Not just from here, but around the world.
Okay.
They do not have much in the way of natural resources for energy. So that is a big vulnerability for China, because they have to import oil, for example, from the Middle East, from Iran, and it comes all the way around India. And, in the event of a war, some people have said you just shut that off.
Yeah.
So there are vulnerabilities on both sides. And to your point, Fred, who's going to blink first?
Yep, that's it. Now, yesterday, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said, I'm paraphrasing here, don't worry, be happy. Our economy is strong. Cut 4.
Oil prices are down, gas prices are down, egg prices are down. We're cutting costs for the American worker, for the American consumer. We also see trillions of dollars of investments pouring into this country every day, and we're working hard now on the tariff side.
But also...
believer? You believer?
Well,
about what? About the prices coming down? Well, my understanding is the
oil prices
have dropped to the lowest in 4 years.
Yes.
We're good there.
Below $60.
I'm not suggesting I don't believe her. I'm just asking a question that needs to be asked.
I do. I mean,
because White Houses spout the line of
sure.
Well,
they put the best possible spin on something.
But here's the other development that is growing overnight, and that is a growing number of Republicans are saying, wait a minute, Mr. Trump, we don't think this is going in a really good direction overall. So you've got senators like Rand Paul. You've got senators like Senator Grassley, a senior senator.
Yeah.
But he's not going to change his mind, I don't think. Do you?
Well,
talking about President Trump. Listen, he's all in on this.
Trump is not going to change his mind, no.
That's what I'm saying. But if they're trying to persuade him to change his mind, or they're trying to take some of the powers away that the president has to issue tariffs.
Which is what Grassley said publicly yesterday.
And so did Rand Paul.
Yeah.
So this is
that ship sailed, though. I think, don't you?
Well, it's so we said yesterday, and again, folks, we're just learning like you are about tariffs, because that has just basically been in the history books for most of the last 100 years.
Well, I got some big words that I've looked up that I'm going to use.
Padfolio?
More to yawning.
Yeah.
You're already yawning.
Stay with us, Wesley.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so this is a real gamble for the president.
Yep.
I support him right now in terms of trying to even the playing field with real countries who have been taking advantage of us.
Support his intentions. Is that fair?
I support his intentions. Here's the problem, okay? I don't think the president's, not just our president right now, the president, the executive branch, has the constitutional power to levy tariffs
on the world.
On the world. We're talking about being in favor of the Constitution. The Constitution says that's Congress's job, because tariffs are taxes.
Well, how's Trump getting away with it then?
Because he has declared a emergency because of fentanyl coming across the border from Mexico and Canada. That's how this started. He said he was going to
What does that have to do with Vietnam?
Well, that's going to, going forward, that's going to be the problem for the president. He's starting to get pushback from the Senate. He'll probably wind up getting pushback eventually from the House. But sooner or later, judges are going to weigh in, and opponents of the president are going to find judges that are leftist judges, but maybe even conservative judges. So here's what I'm saying is this gamble has to pay off within a matter of weeks, yes. I think.
Yes.
And by pay off, I mean these countries have to come and make deals so the president can say, okay, we're going to stop.
Okay, but as of last night, there was already 70 countries that came forward that said they're willing to make deals.
Yes.
What we're doing is, and I understand why, but we're getting caught up right now on the China, the one.
Yes.
Whereas 70,
that's the
big
dog.
one. Yeah, I get it. But there's at least 70 already that's already made the phone call that say, hey, let's sit down and let's figure this out.
Yeah. So that has to come sooner rather than.
So we got, how many negotiators we got out there?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. I thought about that when I saw it.
This is potentially a big mess.
Or potentially a big win.
Potentially a big win.
Seriously, those are the stakes. It's either a big win for Trump or it's a big miss or a big mess, and he could get his wings clipped, and it could be embarrassing for the president. So, folks, if you're praying.
Trump doesn't get embarrassed. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, if his own party says we are taking back these powers and the president loses in court, what I'm saying, he may not personally get embarrassed, but politically it could be embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, for those who, I think the vast majority of Americans voted for him for other reasons than tariffing the world. But he's always said this.
Yeah.
His economic plan was to tariff everybody until they quit mistreating us, he would say.
Yeah.
We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
Over in Workingham, England, there's a fellow by the name of John Baldwin. Mr. Baldwin was busy, it seems, doing nothing. He was so busy doing nothing that he got himself into trouble with the law. He was so busy doing nothing that he did not have time to pick up the mail that was piling up at his front door. Among the letters that Baldwin did not open were demands for tax payments. Baldwin was taken to court, freed on bail pending a tax probe, and allowed to return to his normal pursuits. When asked what he had accomplished in the 30 years he had devoted to restful research, Baldwin replied, "Nothing. That's what I set out to accomplish." Well, you know, there are a lot of folks in this old world who, although they don't go quite to the extreme that Mr. Baldwin does, seem to agree with him on this idea of doing nothing. Or if they do anything, it's for themselves only. And in a real sense, one could say that what Mr. Baldwin does, he does for himself only. It's a real shame that Mr. Baldwin and countless others who do nothing for anyone else and very little for themselves could not come under the influence of the master workman of the world. Their lives would all be a little different if he was allowed to motivate them instead of them attempting to motivate themselves. There is one thing that everyone can be thankful for, and that is that the Creator has not quit his job. Consider what the result would be if he should decide that he'd like to become busy doing nothing. You're talking about a mess? There would be a dilly. But he hasn't decided to quit, and he never will. The Galilean spoke to some who listened one day in the town of his trial, and he said, "My Father is working still, and I'm working. If we are hunting for something to be thankful for, there it is." It's a pity that Mr. Baldwin could not come under the influence of the great carpenter. The carpenter would give him some meaningful work to do and would make him happy doing something constructive in this world instead of doing nothing. Some people interested in the subject of doing the work of the Creator asked the carpenter one day, "What must we do to be doing the works of God?" And he answered them, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he has sent." Witness the work of those who have believed in him all over the world. Just before the terrible death, this man of all men spoke, "I glorified you on earth, having accomplished the work which you gave me to do." The one who gave him work to do gives each of us a job also. And to be sure, it's not a job of doing nothing. It would be a wonderful world if we could say the same thing he said before our death also. If you have something to do, get busy. If not, find something.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
Hi, this is Lynn McKay in Western Road, Louisiana. I just want to call and say that I'm really blessed by AFR. Just want to say I'm a walking miracle. God's done so much for me in my life. I fell between 2 and 3 stories on solid concrete in Austin, Texas, July 7, 75. Should have been dead. My foreman told me he saw me, found me because there was a pool of blood coming out from 5'10". And I was busted up, left knee, right elbow, left eye, in and out of surgery for a year and a half in hospitals. And the Lord put me back together and helped me go out and be a witness and do jobs they said I couldn't do, that I trusted God and not man. And I just want to praise the Lord. So many things he's done for me. It shows me God's not through with me yet, and he's not through with you. Thank you for listening to AFR, and thank you for giving to AFR. And thank you guys again for all you guys do. God bless you.
It's day 2 of Share-a-thon, and it's Founders Day. We're honoring Brother Don Wildman for his hard work and faithfulness to the Lord.
Faithfulness is the word.
You can join us in honoring Brother Don through your support of this ministry. Call now at 877-616-2396 and make your pledge. That's 877-616-2396. Or give online at afr.net. It's Founders Day on American Family Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Share-a-thon on American Family Radio, day 2 of Share-a-thon on AFR. We have 3 days in the spring, 3 days in the fall, where we tell you what our financial needs are, and we pass the virtual offering plate, and we wait till you give. and we don't move on.
We just stand there, right?
You make a generous
stand there and look.
We
Everyone
stand there
looks
and
at
wait. So I saw this funny. I've mentioned this before, but I saw this comic strip a few years ago, and it was how to increase your tithes in your church, and it had a picture of a guy sitting in the pew, and here comes the offering plate, right?
Yeah.
By him.
Yeah.
And that was projected onto the screens in front of the church.
Oh man.
So that everybody knew what John was giving or not giving. So that was
not know what your right hand is doing, but everybody else knows.
Everybody else knows.
And they said this is a way to increase your church tithing right here.
Well, when I was pastoring, we instituted.
Let me introduce
okay,
Katie
yes.
Katie Faust is with us. She is a host of Them Before Us radio show, heard weekends on American Family Radio, and Sunday afternoons at 3 p.m. Central Time is one of the airings on American Family Radio. Them Before Us is the name of the show. Katie is the host. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. I mean, it's nice of you to introduce me since I kind of busted in. I'm like, I'm going to make myself known here.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lifelong pastor's wife, so I have something to say about tithing and shaming. I got you.
Shaming.
You were going to say,
yes, I was going to say, when I was pastor, I was an interim pastor at a Baptist church, and we were trying to increase the amount of tithes. So we placed a little electric device under each part of the pew. So when the plate went by, if someone didn't give, I was up on the front, and I would just press a little button, and it would jolt. It would jolt the people, and I electrocuted 3 deacons that way. It was a real scandal.
Hey, that's 3 less deacons that are going to oppose you at the next meeting, right? So
You ever preach on the 10 Commandments?
That was a joke. That wasn't a lie, folks. That was a joke.
All right, let me reset the show here. Today is day 2 of our 3 days of Share-a-thon. Tim, Ed, Wesley, Fred, and Katie. Katie, we're going to visit with Katie in just a moment. But before we do, let me just tell you that we are in this hour, we're in a $50,000 challenge, right?
That's right.
Yes.
$50,000 challenge, and I'm trying to keep up with how we're doing that. I don't have an update yet, but we want to make sure we meet that challenge. As in, if you write a check for $100 or make a donation, call in a donation for $100, up until the top of the hour, that will become $200. So that's what we're talking about here. That's the beauty of a match or of a challenge. Okay. Here's the phone number to reach us on American Family Radio to help us reach this goal. It's
You're talking about the phone?
877-616-2396.
Again,
877-616-2396. Or you can give safely and securely online at AFR.net.
At AFR.net. Good morning, Katie.
Hey, good morning. I just want to say,
yes,
nice state you got here.
Nice state?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. I've never been here before. I've never been to Missouri.
We're in Mississippi.
Well,
but our state's nice, too.
Well, there you go. Obviously, I'm new around these parts. I know it started with an M and it had accents.
You can get to Missouri in about 4 hours if you want to get in your car and go up there.
Well, I do.
And then call in, and we'll still be here.
Well, you misspoke there. It's your first time down here. So, is it your first time in the South?
It is. Well, I mean, like I've been to Florida, I've been to North Carolina, I've had layovers in Atlanta, but that's really it.
Florida is the South, north of Orlando.
That's right.
And you get to Orlando South, it's not nothing wrong with it. It's just not. It's not the South any
not
longer.
That there's anything wrong with that.
It's a big state.
It's New York down south.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Anyway,
you're getting the best of the South here in Mississippi.
You're getting,
Okay,
yeah.
so, and I will say I hit Alabama, Birmingham
Yeah, you did.
before that. And I'm like, why do people talk so much trash about the South?
That's what we
it's
wonder.
Nice
Yes.
here. The people are nice. It's pretty.
Right.
And I'm from pretty land. Like
Right.
I'm from Seattle.
Yes, you are.
And so it's beautiful there, but
Yeah.
also it's run by the worst ideas on the planet.
Yes,
So there's that.
That's exactly right. You
Well-
know, I tell people, my relatives are from up north. I tell them, for the most part, I mean, there are like family-owned businesses and restaurants, but everything that you get anywhere else in terms of chain restaurants and chain stores, all that, gas stations, it's all the same in America from one coast to the other.
We're a pretty bland country.
Well, you get the odd Buc-ee's here and there.
Yes,
You
yes.
get that, but pretty much everything you can get anywhere else, you can get here if you want it.
Well, for a long time, people maybe out west or up north thought that Southerners didn't have shoes.
Yes.
and we were
Riding cows to
we were
school.
new to indoor plumbing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got that. So, but Katie can verify that we have that here, right?
Indeed. I
Yes.
have been to several bathrooms, and they're
Yes.
all operational
Yeah.
and indoors.
Yeah. And we just recently got something called K-Bell TV.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. K-Bell.
That's Southern for cable.
Oh, it's called. Never mind. Is
there
that
we
not what it's
go.
called?
K-Bell. All right.
Is that what's
I
it
missed
called?
the accent. You got me.
Oh, I got you. Anyway, hey, listen. Katie joins us from the Great Northwest. She lives in the Pacific Northwest. But the most important reason you're here, Katie, is because our partnership with you on American Family Radio for your ministry, your show called Them Before Us, which airs on the weekends here on American Family Radio. Tell us about the show. When did it start? Whose idea was it? And what's your goal?
All right. It was your idea. So, like,
He knew that.
It was
He
my
wanted
idea?
It's your-
pat
okay,
on
well,
the back.
Maybe it was one of your kids'
I think it's
ideas.
probably
It was
my
Walker's
son Walker
idea.
because he has a
Okay.
ton of ideas.
Yeah, and he's got
Most
good
of which are
ideas.
good.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
I
This
have-
one remains to be seen.
I haven't run into a bad idea from him yet, but I also haven't
Okay.
been around very long.
Right,
so
right,
there's
right.
still time. We've been running Them Before Us, which is the only organization solely devoted to defending children's rights in matters of marriage and family. So if it has to do with marriage or divorce or same-sex parents, reproductive technologies, IVF, surrogacy, adoption, abortion, look at any of those issues. Google Them Before Us and one of those issues, and you're going to find, dozens of interviews and articles from us talking
Amen.
about why all of those things really should not focus on how the adults feel or what they want or how they identify. All of it fundamentally comes down to what is best for kids, and then insisting that all adults, single, married, gay, straight, fertile, and infertile, conform to the rights of children, because that is what a just society requires. So we just trigger your audience on the weekends between 3 and 4. That's pretty much what we do.
Okay, so the show is named Them Before Us,
Yeah.
them being the kids.
Them as
children.
the kids. That's
Okay.
right.
Them Before Us being the adults here. Hosted by Katie Faust, right?
That's it. Just like the famous German opera of the man who sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wesley's our opera expert. So
Okay.
I
It was
would-
a novel.
I would defer to Wesley on
Could
that
be a
one.
literature reference as well.
He's into duck hunting and also opera.
Oh, great.
Both. Yeah.
Well, if you've ever seen now I'm getting back to where you might find some connection.
Okay,
here.
so quit
if
yawning.
you've ever seen the movie Tombstone,
Yes, I have.
Okay, you remember Kurt
be your
Russell's
Huckleberry.
character? He fell in love with the girl who was playing in the play inside the saloon.
See,
Yes.
Here we
Faust.
go. We've
Yeah.
come back. We've found a
That's a
cultural
deep
reference.
We found
Great.
I don't know if that's might even be before your time. You ever seen Tombstone?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Never seen
gee.
it.
All right.
Never seen it.
Never mind.
So anyway,
Time to update your references.
So the show, the radio show on American Family Radio on the weekends that Katie hosts is called Them Before Us. And now, was that a podcast prior to?
We have a podcast, but it's a nonprofit.
Okay.
So my goal is to accurately represent the rights and well-being of children in the courtroom, in the culture, in the political, and in the personal. So
okay,
if-
what's the number one or not? Give me a couple threats that's really out there across the United States that you're focused on.
So the thing we did the most about last year was IVF. because unfortunately, the baby making industry of big fertility destroys more embryonic life every year than the baby taking industry of abortion. And most people don't know that. Most people think that IVF is just a way to help infertile couples have children, and it does. But it actually is much more of an industry of designer, disposable, discardable, deliverable babies throughout the country and throughout the nation. So that's an area where there's not a lot of knowledge and understanding about it. So we are probably tip of the spear in terms of educating Christians, conservatives, and pro-lifers on why IVF needs to be highly...
What is that exactly?
IVF, and I'll tell you what, everybody that's listened to my show on the weekend, they're like, Tim,
Here we go again.
Tim, time to tune in because we talk about...
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I have to ask questions that
No,
the average
you're being a
person out
good
there...
host.
Yeah, thank you.
I got you. IVF means in vitro fertilization. Vitro is Latin for glass. So mainly IVF means making babies in a petri dish. So it's lab-made children. That's what it is.
These are test tube babies.
What
Is
used
that
to be
they-
called test tube babies, yes. And so that's what it is. And unfortunately, in this industry, if you're going to make babies in a laboratory, you don't make just one. You make 10 or 20 if you can, so that you have a well from which you can go back and draw every time you want to do some kind of transfer and implantation. And then also you can screen out the undesirable children, the ones that maybe don't look like they would develop as well, or they're the wrong sex.
You can tell that?
Yes. There was a huge New York Times article that talked about a brand new genome sequencing company that will allow you to study all the genetic markers in your children. And then you want a healthy child, but you're not healing the kids. You're eliminating the children who might end up being blind or might develop heart disease, or might end up having an early childhood cancer. And, you know, you've got boutique clinics that 90% of the clientele are not infertile. They just want to choose the eye color of their child. You're designing children. That's what's going on in IVF.
Wow. What's the second thing you're watching?
So there is a lot of noise and upset whenever there's a picture of two men who are taking home a newborn from the hospital, usually after a brown woman in Nigeria or Mexico has gestated it for them. So that gets a lot of attention, and it absolutely is a threat to kids. But numerically, the greatest threat to children is not the gays, it's the heterosexuals. Cohabitation as a replacement of marriage actually affects many more children every year and is highly detrimental to their development and to their safety. And divorce. Divorce is and always has been the original redefinition of marriage, and it radically alters children's life, their physical, mental, emotional, academic, and relational health. So, you know, the surrogacy and IVF is getting a lot of attention right now, but it is sort of the old school ways of destroying or avoiding marriage that heterosexual couples have been engaging in that actually is going to harm the most children.
And to the point of the name of your show, the three examples you gave, same-sex couples, cohabiting heterosexual couples, and
That shacked up?
Huh?
Same thing.
Shacked up?
Same thing. And then heterosexual couples that are divorcing. All three of those are done with the understanding and with the arguments, this is best for us. Talking about the adults.
Right.
And the kids are placed in a secondary position or rarely considered at all.
Right.
And what you're saying is this is so destructive to children that we need to start thinking about those kids when we're developing policies for those, right?
Yes, when you're making your own personal decisions or when you're developing policy along those lines. So we frame all of these conversations not as, well, how are you feeling? Or what do you want? Or what would be hard for you? Or how do you think the kids are going to do? No. Everything is about justice for children. Fundamentally, all of these questions are about, are we going to do justice for children? Are we going to give them what they are owed? And it is always a trade-off. Either the adults will do hard things so children are protected, or children will do hard things so adults can have what they want.
Yeah. Katie Faust in the studio with us. She's joining us here for Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. She lives in Oregon.
Seattle, but, you know, pretty much the same thing.
Okay, Oregon to Seattle. Well, that's what they do with Alabama, Mississippi when you come down here. Or
Yeah.
Missouri.
Or Missouri,
Yeah.
Mississippi.
So, anyway, Katie's joining us in studio, and we're delighted to have her. Her show is on the weekends on American Family Radio called Them Before Us. Heard 3 p.m. Central Time on AFR. By the way, I'm just curious, when you flew from Seattle, where did you go to Denver or Dallas or Atlanta or Chicago?
So I flew straight to Birmingham, and then I've been coming
From Seattle?
Mm-hmm. And I've been driving around since
What discount airline does that?
The good news is I don't have to figure it out anymore. I have somebody who does all of my travel, which is great because I can't even keep the time zone straight.
I wouldn't have ever thought there was a direct flight from Seattle to Birmingham.
Yeah, thank goodness there
okay,
is.
is this like, this isn't one of those, Christy Nome flights, right?
No, I don't have the hair extensions or the lip fillers for that.
Bada boom. Yeah. Anyway, well, listen, welcome and thank you for being with us here
good to be with you.
on American Family Radio.
Are we wrapping up, or can I say
we're
something
wrapping
else?
up. Yes,
Sad.
we're wrapping up.
You can say something else.
You can say something else.
Oh, what I want to say is, like, I just got a tour of your whole place here.
Yeah.
And this is tip-top level stuff going on here. Like, I am so impressed by everybody on your team.
Amen.
Like the technical support, the people that are like ready to be deployed if like one of your stations goes down, the monitoring, all of the AV stuff that you guys have going on, your hosts. I mean, like, if you've never been here, I don't know if you like do tours or something like that, but I just want to give you the on-the-ground perspective from a girl that had no idea what it was she was signing on for when I said, yeah, let's do a radio show. But I don't know. I'm around a lot of like bigwig, conservative, pro-family organizations, and AFA is the real deal.
Amen.
So, I mean, if you're trying to figure out who you're going to support,
right?
I'm pretty severe in my judgments because I have a history as a pastor's wife.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, everything that I've seen from you guys, I'm like, you're excellent at what you're doing. You're serious about serving the Lord. You're delivering content that a lot of other places aren't going to touch.
That's right.
So if you're trying to figure out, like, should I write that check? Should I give that money? This is probably the place to do it.
Amen.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you, Katie.
We try to avoid controversy here, but it's hard to do sometimes. We love everybody.
We did not ask Katie to do that, though. Thank you for those kind words.
Yeah.
And folks, I just want to follow up. I'm just going to follow up on what she said. If she convinced you, here's the number to call.
To do what? To make a donation?
To make a donation. This is our Share-a-thon. 3 days in the spring, 3 days in the fall. We're halfway through the spring Share-a-thon. The number to call, if you would like to take Katie's advice, 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396.
Fred says,
I just want to congratulate Katie because I know the kind of neighborhood that she lives in. I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia. Seattle is much the same. You don't have many friends, do you?
No.
No.
My second book is called Raising Conservative Kids in a Woke City. And it's like,
that's a great title.
How do you pass on your worldview to your children when nobody is with you and everybody is lying?
Right.
Yes.
So, yes, it's a harsh environment, but I will say it's a very refining culture, so that we get both our message and our message very straight.
Yeah, we homeschooled our kids in that environment. But here's what was really interesting. The public school kids would come to our house and say to my wife, can you help me with my math?
Yeah.
And we were able to give testimony through that way because the question is, well, why are you homeschooling? Well, here's one of the reasons that we're doing that kind of thing. So it's fertile ground.
It is.
For questions.
Don't get me started. The harvest is plentiful.
Yes.
And I say that as one of the 7 Christians left in Seattle. I mean, like, and my kids have gone to public school, and they are evangelizing and discipling the kids around them who have this is not a post-Christian world we live in. It's a pre-Christian world. They have no idea who God is. Good. They don't know the Old from the New Testament. They've never heard of David and Goliath.
Yes.
And they want to know it.
Yes. Yeah.
I like
hey,
that.
before we sign off, tell our audience where they can find out more about your ministry and your content and that kind of stuff.
Go to thembeforeus.com, not to be confused with .net. It's AFR.net if you want to give money to them. If you want to come to sign up for our newsletter, come to thembeforeus.com. Let us turn you into warriors on behalf of children, especially if you're a Christian. This is your mandate. This is one manifestation of the pure and undefiled religion before God that every Christian throughout history has had to bring into their current cultural sphere. And this is what we need to be doing today. It is child defense, especially in these fundamental matters of right to life and right to their mother and father.
Well, your husband may be a pastor, but you got some preach in you too.
I'm a talker.
Well, listen, it's not empty words.
Yep.
I think the Spirit of God is directing your speech. What's the name of your first book? You said you got a second one coming out.
Well, the first one is Them Before Us.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the handbook of everything we're doing. You read Them Before Us, Why We Need a Global Children's Rights Movement, and nobody will stand against you. You will be able to bat down every trope, every, love is love mantra you'll be able to respond to. But isn't surrogacy just about helping a sister who lost her womb to kid? No, it's not. It's about on-demand designer babies shipped worldwide to anyone and everyone, even if they have a criminal background check and they're guilty of child predation. No,
Right.
it's not. So, let us equip you. And we have the resources to do it.
Good.
All right, thank you, Katie, and we hope you're going to be around for another day or so.
I hope to answer
When
some
do you
phones
go home?
today.
When do you go home?
I'm going to fly home tomorrow.
Fly home tomorrow. What are you going to say to the people in Seattle about
Missouri?
I'm not going to say anything. We have enough people that are fleeing the state to go to Idaho and
Yeah.
Tennessee and South Dakota. And
Is it a problem? Is that a problem?
Yes,
Okay.
it is a problem.
You're talking about good people, Christian
I'm talking
people.
about good Christian people who can't take it anymore. And anyway, we don't have to get into this, but I actually have this conversation once or twice a week with everybody in Seattle. Do we leave now? How about now? What about now?
Really?
Oh,
That's
listen,
sad.
Oh,
my
100%.
sister and her husband live in Olympia,
Yeah.
Washington, and they're conservative. My sister's a Christian. My brother-in-law, that's up in the air, but they both can't stand it.
I
up
know.
there. And she's already retired. He's a foot surgeon with the military. As soon as he retires, I think they're going to move to Utah or
no,
someplace
the gay
like
guys
that.
at the end of my street are like, this is crazy. We got to get out of here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Even
they
for
moved
them.
to Central
The gay guys
Washington.
at the end of the street
Yes.
that wanting to leave?
Yes,
You
they're
know,
like,
you know you're bad.
I know.
You know you're too far left in, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Where are you moving, Katie? We're
yeah,
following you.
That's right.
But Idaho's booming because of this
That's
reason.
right.
Oh,
and-
whenever I meet somebody from Idaho, I'm like, oh, you're from Idaho? How's my church doing over there?
I know. Because
a good one.
Idaho, there's some
Idaho, Montana, other
there's some
places.
counties in eastern Washington and eastern Oregon that are wanting to join.
Secede. You
Yeah.
can just, I swear, Oregon, Washington, California. It's
Yeah.
really like one state on the coast and one inland
Yeah.
state. They're all the same.
Yeah.
And the inlanders, I mourn for them. I'm like, I know that
Right.
Seattle is running your
Right.
life
I
and you
know.
want to be free of them. And I also understand. I understand.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you guys.
We got a couple minutes left here for this hour of Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. And we have a $50,000 challenge going on that you can help us meet if you'll call before the top of the hour, as in right now. The phone number to reach us here at American Family Radio and to say, hey, I want to get in on that challenge and double my giving. The phone number is 877-616-2396. Call us here at American Family Radio, our Share-a-thon. The person that answers the phone is most likely going to be a listener who has volunteered to answer the phones, and they've driven to be with us on their own time and their own dime. And we are so thankful for those folks. And they're probably going to be the ones that answer your phone call, 877-616-2396 or AFR.net, AFR.net.
I do want to let folks know before the top of the hour break, our Spring Share-a-thon premiums for a one-time gift of $150 or more.
Lip fillers. We have AFR lip fillers.
No.
No?
No lip fillers.
We voted those down?
We voted those down.
Okay. What do we have, Ed?
We have a book by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human. Or if you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will receive the book from Stephen McDowell and the AFR embossed padfolio.
Yes,
I
sir.
said that, Tim. You love the word.
Neighbor, we got a padfolio
It's a
going on right here.
Padfolio. You can
I'm
put
holding it up right
a
here.
little small pad in it, or you can put something else in it. You can hide snacks. I think you can. It zips up. It
Maybe
has
some licorice. That's about it.
You have AFR embossed.
You
on
really
the
want to
front.
open up your padfolio and get sticky stuff in there?
See, you're already trying to figure out where I'm going to hide
Like
the
I'm
candy.
a 4-year-old. Oh, what now?
You
sorry,
are
wait.
talking to me.
Okay.
So
It's
what
a,
I
it's
do.
a padfolio. It's a
fourth grade is.
all right, Wesley. Tell them what it is for normal people.
That's going to be called a notepad.
Okay, notepad with a zipper.
That's going to be called a notepad.
All right. I'm sorry, Ed. Padfolio.
It is-
Nobody knows what you're talking
It's
about.
a padfolio. to go along with your portfolio.
That's stubborn. You're being stubborn.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, we'll send you Stephen McDowell's book, The Bible, Divine or Human. And for a monthly pledge of $30 or more, we'll send you the book, plus an AFR Padfolio. Call now at 877-616-2396 and make your pledge. Or give online at afr.net. And thank you for your support during Share-a-thon.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. New reciprocal tariffs on imports from dozens of countries going into effect, including a 104% tariff on China. Peter Ducey has more from the White House.
President Trump dared China to keep their reciprocal tariffs up, and they did. And now, as of midnight, the new tariff on China, the biggest in the world, is 104%.
Additional tariffs on Chinese goods are in place effective midnight tonight at 104%. Until they make a deal with us, that's what it's going to be. I think they'll make a deal at some point.
The president continues putting out the word that he and Xi of China have a good relationship, as the Chinese are still warning they'll fight this to the end.
Some Republicans responded negatively and joined Democrats to remove tariffs on Canada. Texas Senator Ted Cruz warns that the president can't spoil his chances to negotiate deals that give America the advantage.
If a year from now, our trading partners have all jacked up tariffs on America and we have high tariffs on everyone, I think that'll hurt this country.
An expert on communist China says the tariff war between President Trump and the Chinese could cause instability in the communist regime and potentially war. Chad Groening has more.
As we have reported on AFN, China has vowed that it will fight to the end and take countermeasures against the United States to safeguard its own interests after President Donald Trump threatened an additional 50% tariff on Chinese imports. Gordon Chang is an Asian policy analyst and author of Plan Red, China's project to destroy America. He is concerned that there are signs of instability at the top of the Chinese Communist Party.
The infighting is getting intense. Xi Jinping may decide that war is in his interest, not to rally the Chinese people, because Xi Jinping knows the Chinese people do not want war. But he might decide a war is in his personal interest to prevent other Communist Party figures from challenging or maybe even deposing him. So right now, I think the situation is extremely tense across China's periphery.
Chang says Xi may take military action as a distraction from China's economic woes.
We've seen some very dangerous provocations in the last couple of weeks against South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, and Australia. And if one of those escalations goes wrong, I don't think Xi Jinping will be able to control escalation, because right now he has configured China's political system so that only the most hostile answers are considered to be acceptable.
So Chang says if something starts, it's going to continue.
The IRS has announced that they are dropping an investigation into a Florida church that let a Republican candidate talk to the congregation, and he was prayed over by the pastor. First Liberty attorney Hiram Sasser says the IRS was clearly picking on New Way Church in Palm Coast.
One day, a candidate for local school board, I think it was, showed up at this church, and they discovered that she was a candidate for office and invited her to address the crowd, and she did, told them about where she came from and why she's running for office and all that. And the pastor, before she left the stage, just took a moment to pray for her and thanking her for running for office, and that was kind of it. 2 years later, they get a notice from the IRS saying that they may have broken the law and that the IRS was opening an investigation into this church.
New details have been revealed by law enforcement officials that the California soccer coach Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino, accused of murdering a 13-year-old after attempting to sexually abuse him, entered the U.S. illegally. Fox 11 Los Angeles' Christina Gonzalez has the latest.
The 43-year-old agreeing to postpone his arraignment as he is now facing even more sexual assault charges against other minors. In February of last year, prosecutors say Aquino sexually assaulted a 16-year-old boy in Palmdale, the boy alerting his family, who called deputies. Aquino also facing allegations concerning a third teen boy. Now the Department of Homeland Security confirms this man is here illegally.
And finally, Janice Dean with a look at your Wednesday forecast.
It feels more like winter than spring across the east as below-average temperatures settle in, and millions are under freeze advisories during the overnight and morning hours, while across the west, summer-like heat breaking records, especially across the southwest.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
I listen to American Family Radio a lot. I'm a truck driver, and I just love the message that I get. It keeps me instilled. It keeps me on track. I get so blessed just because of all the different topics and all that I get from it. And just want to say thank you so much for the ministry that you provide to those of us out here. And you guys y'all bless me daily. Thank you very much.
In honor of Brother Don Wildman and his wife Linda, it's Founders Day on American Family Radio. It's been more than 40 years since Reverend Don Wildman felt a calling from the Lord and began pouring all his energy and resources into starting a new ministry. Since then, countless lives have been touched by God through AFA and AFR.
The only promise I've ever made to people who give us money, that is, we'll be the best stewards of their money, their gifts, as we can be.
To help us honor Brother Don's hard work and faithfulness to the Lord, you can call 877-616-2396 and make a pledge of support to AFR. That's 877-616-2396. Or give online at afr.net. It's day 2 of Share-a-thon, and it's Founders Day on American Family Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Share-a-thon. This team right here, this team of professional broadcasters that you're listening to right now, we're going to be here for another 54 minutes on American Family Radio.
Right. Normally, we're just here to the bottom of the hour, but during Share-a-thon, we go an extra half hour. Mm-hmm. And frankly, it's pretty taxing.
And every time we
got to build up our endurance.
The first thing that comes to mind is whether you like it or not. That's and whether I say it on live radio or not, I'll always think it.
Too late. Extra half hour, whether you like it or not. I like it. That's good.
Tim, Ed, and Wesley, of course, you know that if you listened last hour. That's who we are. And now Steve Paisley Jordahl joins us.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, I just want to say, I said this kind of during the break. Tim, you weren't in here. You were getting coffee or popcorn or something. But I was very impressed with Katie Faust.
Yeah, I told her that it's on the way out.
Wow. She's host of Them Before Us, heard Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Time on AFR. We had her on during
Walker
the last
recruited
segment.
her to be on our network.
She's dynamite.
Yep. Yeah, and I recruited Todd Herman.
Yes.
He's scary.
So
he's scary.
They're both. They knew each other.
They
I
did.
didn't realize.
They
because he was up in Seattle too, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
They live right.
There's 2 of the 7 Christians.
Right.
Yes.
They knew each. Well, Todd was on the radio in Seattle for a long time. He was a locally known celebrity.
He substituted for Rush Limbaugh
on a national basis.
Yes.
So Todd was well known to people who lived in the Seattle area. Yeah. Todd Herman.
Well, kudos to you and Walker, because those are 2 dynamite finds for us.
Yeah. But Todd, what I was going to say was Todd's down here to be with us during Share-a-thon.
Yes.
And Katie's here, and they knew each other from back home, but they didn't know each other was going to be here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I don't want to take credit here, but I mean, I did put a good word in for Walker when he got hired.
Hey,
yeah.
Fist bump to you.
Well, for Walker, you helped hire Walker.
Put a good word in.
Yeah,
for
you
him.
put a good word in him. You also had
Good
some
character reference.
You also had some not good words, but that was just to be even things out and be fair.
But we all know that when you're only supposed to remember the good. Okay.
Yes. That's right.
And denial the bad, or is denial the bad? Is that
deny
Put the bad behind you and focus on the good.
Absolutely.
You can't say anything good about people. Just don't say anything at all.
There you go.
I don't know who said that. Said everybody's mom.
There you go.
Pretty much. All right, Steve, what's happening in the news world there?
Can we go back to tariff talk for just a second?
Absolutely.
If we
have
to.
This bunch right here,
yes,
we can't get enough of tariffs.
Well,
tariff talk.
Let me bring you Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He was talking, and this is what he thinks about the China tariffs. Cut 10.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it, and sell it back here. It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. Finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning.
IP is intellectual property.
Intellectual property. Let me just, who was that?
That was Kevin O'Leary.
He's famous from the Shark Tank show.
So let me just say this. I absolutely agree with Mr. O'Leary, okay? You can't trust communists. I'm just telling you. You can't trust them. And I agree with everything he said. And that is an angle that we really haven't covered on this with China. But you can't trust communists. They will, I firmly believe that if they could get away with it, they'd nuke us. That's what I believe. I believe they would EMP us or nuke us. The only reason they don't is because we have a submarine fleet that they can't detect, and they would cease to exist. That's the only way you deal with commies. I sound like my dad.
The 400% O'Leary thinks, and many people think, would bring China to its knees. They cannot sustain that. But it has to be accompanied with zero and free trade from us with Japan and all these other Southeast Asian countries, because China is now going to those countries and saying, well, hey, U.S. wants to put 50% tariff on you. We'll do it for free. So we need to be careful.
My hope, this is all I want to say, frankly, about tariffs for the whole day.
All right.
Okay, is I hope that I trust President Trump. He's been talking about tariffs for 40 years. He's far smarter than I am. I trust him right now. I just hope he succeeds and gets some of these things straightened out. But I think he is definitely doing the right thing. If he can be successful with what he's doing now, maybe he can get the Republican Party on board so that Congress starts to pay attention to tariffs as well. That's it. I'm done.
There you go.
I'm done on tariffs.
You know where people in the Republican Party are on this for the most part.
Where the Democrats are, probably.
Yeah. Well, okay. I can tell you where people I talk to are. Who I don't ask them what. Here's where most people are. Even if they supported President Trump and voted for him, this is to me the only place you almost can be. You say, what do you think about tariffs? And you say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why do you say I don't know? Because I don't know what's going to happen. And I think Republicans in Congress and in the Senate and around the country are anxious about it because now the Democrats are kind of anxious from another way. But because Republicans are wanting to see evidence that these work to benefit the economy of America, and they want to see it
pretty quickly,
at least by the end of the summer.
Yeah,
I would say by the end of the summer, if not sooner. But now, Democrats are nervous on the other side because if it does work, it's going to be an economic boom.
Yes,
and
that's true.
And going to benefit the Republicans. So there's a lot of wait and see here, a lot of anxiousness. Now, the stock markets around the world, they react to,
I don't know is the worst thing they
they react.
Hear.
They react. They are
instability.
They have emotional breakdowns.
Yes.
Okay, these people,
right?
Do they not?
Yes.
On something that can even be false.
Yeah.
You tell the stockbrokers in New York that
aliens have just landed on the White House lawn.
Aliens are just landing on the White House lawn, and they go into freak-out mode.
Yeah.
Sell off, and we'll invest in alien ships later. But anyway, I'm not to dismiss what's going on with these world stock markets because they do need to start coming back. But, I mean, stock markets are not the only gauge for the economy is what I'm saying here.
I think
Westy, did you want to pipe in there, or do you have anything to say? You watched this Shark Tank. You know this guy, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, Kevin O'Leary. Yeah. And you go back a couple months, maybe even a year. He has been in support of at least Trump's team economically.
Yeah.
He's been in support of that. Oh, yeah. There's also he got really involved in the New York case, if you remember that, when Trump was being sued.
Oh yeah. He spoke out on his defense.
On his defense, because and it all came back to
on the business forum.
On the business forum, it all comes back to Kevin O'Leary. If we don't have common ground anywhere else, he loves free trade. He loves capitalism. He loves all the ideas that come with intellectual property.
Yes.
Business rights, small business rights. And so the American dream, he's 100% behind as it relates to growing a business. So anytime he speaks on economics, you definitely want to. Now, the 400%, I kind of like the attitude, but I don't know if that's realistic.
Hey, listen, while we take a breath here, let me reset the stage, folks. This is our spring Share-a-thon. The theme is Pour Your Spirit Out. That is from Isaiah 44, verse 3, where God says, I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. That is our prayer, that God will send revival to this country via the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. So this is our spring Share-a-thon. And we are encouraging you to come alongside and to give to this ministry to keep AFR going for the next 6 months until our fall Share-a-thon. And here's the number to call if you would like to give. We ask you to be as generous as possible. 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396. You can also give online at afr.net. And I just want to let you know we do have some options for our Spring Share-a-thon premiums. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive the book written by Stephen McDowell titled The Bible, Divine or Human. For if you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, a monthly gift of $30 or more, you not only get the book by Stephen McDowell, you also get the AFR embossed pad folio. We've had a lot of fun with that word, but it is a very nice pad that you can put a writing pad in. It zips up. It has AFR embossed on the front of it. It's very nice. I like it. I've already gotten mine delivered to my desk. I am a Great Commission partner for AFR. And we do encourage people, if you can, to give monthly. And you don't have to write a check out. You don't have to remember it comes out as a bank draft or a credit card or a debit card every month. You don't have to think about it. It's just your donation, whatever you give, will come out.
One description of the pad folio we haven't given is it's reusable. So you can the pad, the notepad that's on the inside, after you've filled it up.
Yes.
You can remove the notepad and add another one back in there.
I'm demonstrating.
He's demonstrating.
It's very versatile.
The reason I wanted to point that out is because many times if you get like a journal, once you fill it up, it's done.
Good point.
You know, but this can be continued to be reused.
It looks nice. You put your Bible on it as you're going into church. You have a pad. You can take notes. Oh, Tim just removed it from the pad.
And he did not do that QVC style at all.
No,
that was a rip and go.
He almost took off my right ear.
That's right.
With it as
like
whipped
Peter.
that out of the pad folio.
Remove it.
Yes.
I mean, you can put a new pad in and resume your life.
I think right now Steve is thankful that we're during Share-a-thon and we get a whole hour. Could we have taken up 18 minutes?
That's okay.
He hasn't said a word yet.
That's okay. No, I have. We talked. We talked about Kevin O'Leary.
Oh yeah.
But I do want to say
you were asleep then.
I do want to say this. In order for that pad folio to be used for a second notepad, you got to not lose it. And
true.
That probably wouldn't happen for me. But
you lose it. You lose it a lot.
I have no
Steve?
idea where I put it. Yeah,
Steve's always losing.
He's losing it. You lose it. Okay. All right, Steve. What's your next story?
I just found out this morning that Rutgers University has a social perception lab. And within that social perception lab is a network of contagion research institute. Now, that sounds like a medical thing. It's not. This is the contagion of ideas.
Oh, come on.
I love this thought. You ever
Oh,
thought
yeah.
of how
Ideas can
are
be are sometimes described as a contagion because they spread.
They spread. And here's what they are reporting. And this is not fun or interesting. It is interesting, but it's not pleasant at all. They have put a report out that finds that 55% of people who identify as leaning left think it is justifiable to assassinate President Trump. Now, they're not saying they would do it. They're not saying they would do it, but they are saying it is fine.
Okay, I'm going to repeat back what I thought I heard. A recent poll of left-leaning people said that 75% of them said
55.
50. Okay, good. Okay, 55% of them said that it was justifiable in killing or assassinating the president.
That's stunning.
Somewhat
55%. Now, some people may say, well, it's not, like you said, 75. It's not 75%. That's over half of those who consider themselves leftists. They're okay with murder and assassination.
48% think it's okay to assassinate Elon Musk. Now, I would imagine because of this idea contagion thing, had we not had the cold-blooded murder of that healthcare CEO by Mangione, I think that is what, and the people coming out in support for him, that is what kind of is pushing those numbers. It's like this. Do you remember no one talked about transgender anything? In fact, the LGBT, this will relate here, the LGB completely disregarded and pushed the T off to the side until Bruce Jenner did it. Once Bruce Jenner did it, all of a sudden, and now the social contagion of ideas that it's okay is rampant, and it's the same thing that's happened here. I think the Mangione murder, alleged. Do we have to say has he been tried yet?
I don't think that's a done deal yet.
The alleged murder of Mangione.
The gentleman died.
Well, but he's talking about the person that actually
person who pulled the trigger. I don't want. At this point, it's alleged, even though it's on video. But I think that's what started this idea. And so what what this study finds is the attitudes are not fringe. They reflect an emergent assassination culture grounded in far-left authoritarianism and increasingly normalized in digital discourse.
Well, that goes along with what we've seen over the last 5 years or 6 years, where we've seen the left being hostile in other areas. So we've got, just to list a couple here, the most recent attacks are on Tesla or anybody that supports Elon Musk or has anything to do with him. Obviously, you can buy a Tesla and not support Elon Musk or really have any idea of what's going on, too. And so you've got that as an issue. You have, we covered it. Ed, help me out here. We did an Impact series. What was the guy's name in Colorado?
Jack Phillip.
No, that was one of them.
No,
but
this is.
Okay, that's my fault. I'm trying to shoot from the hip here.
Yeah.
But the point is, we've seen the hostility of left-leaning individuals in our country attacking Christians.
We've seen it ramped up over the time. I mean, and the language, it doesn't help here. So when they start saying your rhetoric is violent, that it's violence for me just to disagree with you,
yes,
all of a sudden you have to have something else to describe actual violence. And then the idea is that once you get that, okay, murder would be something. You can't say, you never hear anybody say that your words are murderous.
Right.
But they have to have that introduce something, and this is where it leads to.
You know, it's interesting because when they accuse Trump or us or others, Christians or conservatives or Republicans, for being violent with our words, but yet they're violent with their actions, does that justify, in their mind, if in the event, if I went to, what's an ACLU? Let's say, what if I went there and I did a Molotov cocktail and I threw it and it started a fire? How does that play out? Like, do I Am I justified by their definition, or am I then now?
No, they excuse their own
That's the
beliefs
point I'm
about
making.
violence. They make excuses because, like what Steve's saying, because of how bad their political opponents are.
It's the punch a Nazi
yes.
idea.
If you think you're fighting against actual Nazis, then in your mind you are justified, and that's how crazy these people are, because we disagree with them on ideology or religion or politics. We become Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And listen,
I tell you how they think. Here's excuse me. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Here's how these people think. By these people, I mean a lot of people on the left. So they think we think, and our goal is to, especially people who are what they would call religious, and they would call us religious nuts. They think we want to impose our religion on everybody. That's why they call it Christian nationalism. And these are the scary people. They would cite us as these people are wanting to they want to force everybody to be baptized. You know?
Yeah, they watch Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. That's what they project to their audience about us.
Right.
About groups like us. That's why they call us a hate group.
Yes.
Why do you call them a hate group? Well, in actuality, what you've done is you've stated what the Bible says about homosexuality.
Right.
Okay.
And has for thousands of years, no shocker to anybody.
I think you give them too much credit by saying they're thinking about anything. It's reflexive. They're told who to hate, and then they hate. What I find interesting
Let me finish.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's
go.
all right. And then you can finish.
And then I'll finish, and then
I think,
and we'll go home.
Yes.
Listen, I try to be an example of how not to interrupt folks. Okay, here, and I wish you guys
we
would
all noticed that.
See there?
Yeah.
Ominous
See there? I'm trying to finish my thought, and see there, so I don't think I interrupt you guys. I mean, if I do, please let me know.
I'm not going to do it while you're talking.
But anyway, where was I? Oh, I know what I was saying. So here's what they would say. We would say, well, the Bible says homosexuality is sinful. It's against God, the action, and so therefore we're going to say this out loud in a country that doesn't tolerate that any longer for the most part. They would say, your group is saying that homosexuality is sinful, and therefore you're preaching non-acceptance of it. Therefore, you're denying our rights as gay and lesbian people to be fully human. Therefore, you need to be condemned, and you need to be persona non grata.
Canceled.
And you need to be canceled, and you need to be called what you are, you Christian right-wingers. You're haters. You're bigots. You see how this works?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's some nuances there that need to be discussed. First of all, we don't hate anybody, but they don't care. If you don't agree with their lifestyle, you are de facto a hater and a bigot, and they're going to label you as such, and then they're going to attack you as such, and they're going to say, well, so you're what's leading to homophobia. You and your ilk. You see how this works?
Right.
That now, for a lot of people, that's logical. They would say, yes, that's right. That's how that works. Homophobia is caused by what? By Christians who teach that homosexuality is sinful. So anyway, I'm just trying to tell you how these people think and how they project it to the general public. Go ahead.
I agree. There's an increasing number of people on the Democrats or on the left that have realized that this is going too far, and they're leaving the left and coming, if not to the Republican side, they're going independent or whatever. But without exception, almost that I've ever seen, every one of them are shocked that they can come over and talk with conservatives and their ideas. They're not shunned. We're open to a debate. You don't have to agree with us on everything in order for us to talk or even go out to lunch or whatever. They're shocked because it's such a different culture over here of actual thinking and intellect as opposed to just mindless rage.
We're not how we've been portrayed.
No.
They come out if they want to talk. We don't beat them up and stuff them in a school locker. Okay, and listen, if you have a rational discussion and someone tells me you're saying you don't accept homosexuality, you believe what the Bible says, that makes you a hater. I want to say, so you don't accept what the Bible says. Does that make you a hater?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
No, so I would say this, too, about I was waiting for him to finish. I know what you guys are thinking. I was interrupting Brother Ed. I wasn't interrupting Brother Ed. I was waiting for him to, respectfully, waiting for him to finish. No, in the same way, we would say people living together, heterosexuals living together, that, too, is sinful.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean I hate the people.
Right.
Huh? Or I'm a bigot against people who shack up.
Yeah.
I'm not. But that's the way if you don't accept homosexuality, for example, and you don't endorse it and embrace it, you're de facto a bigot.
Right.
And a hater and deserve to be canceled. We'll be back momentarily.
In honor of Brother Don and Linda Wildman, it's Founders Day on AFR. Here's an employee memory.
Having been a staff member at AFA now for 27 years, and prior to that, 6 years on his advisory board, I have so many great memories. But I recall a specific board meeting in November of 1991 when American Family Radio was a single station in Tupelo, and Brother Don reported that the FCC had just opened up a new group of frequencies for adding translator stations associated with AFR, and he cast the vision to expand the reach of AFR across the nation. And we didn't really understand as a board his vision, and we questioned how that could serve AFA's mission. And Brother Don made his case. He said, since I started AFA in the late 70s, we had to depend on the mainstream media to get the message out, and the message was kind of lost after they put their spin on it. But we will own the microphones at American Family Radio Network, and they can't filter or change the message. So, wow, thank you, Brother Don and Miss Linda. Because of your vision of the American Family Radio Network, the gospel of Jesus Christ is now shared every hour of every day. Unfettered, unfiltered. People are coming to know the Lord Jesus Christ. Families are being strengthened. The truth of the gospel is being shared. Thanks be to God.
Brother Don has been standing in the gap for families, and Linda has been standing behind him since the inception of this ministry more than 40 years ago. We praise the Lord for our founders' obedient service, and we invite you to make a gift in their honor during Share-a-thon on AFR.
Hi, this is John in the New Orleans area. About 2004, I was helping out at my young daughter's softball game, and I got struck in the head with the softball. It knocked me out for a little while. I was having a seizure-like episode. They rushed me to one hospital, and they said, no, take him to another one. So I was there for a couple of days before I woke up, I think. But what I remember clearly was somebody put the radio on in the room, and it was American Family Radio. And I listened to talk, but there was a lot of music, I think, on another portion of your show. And when I came 2 days later, I talked about it to no end. And I remember so much of what was said. That was my introduction to American Family Radio. Thank you, and God bless you all very richly.
Thank you for listening to American Family Radio on Founders Day. We're honoring Brother Don Wildman as he honored the Lord.
I would just like to see every person in America have access to American Family Radio.
Call now at 877-616-2396 and make your pledge. That's 877-616-2396. Or give online at afr.net. It's Founders Day on American Family Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Steve. We are honoring my dad, Don Wildman, who was the founder of American Family Association and American Family Radio. This radio network, the ministry AFA started was in NFD, became AFA, started in 1977. The radio side began in 1991. And so we've been adding radio stations ever since to the American Family Radio Network, and we own roughly 170, I forget exactly how many now, radio stations we own and operate across the country. And so if you do the math on that, that's a lot of money that it costs to operate a radio network of that stature and of that many stations. So we have to pass the offering plate every once in a while, like in twice a year for 3 days. We pass the offering plate and ask our listeners to help us out, and you always respond, and we're very thankful for that. You, our listeners, always respond. So thank you. So we're Share-a-thon, Spring Share-a-thon. We do this in April. We do this in October. Twice a year we do our American Family Radio Share-a-thons.
877.
What is that? What are you giving your Social Security number?
2396.
Wait, let me get a pen.
Yeah, 877-616-2396 is the number to call. I'll give it one more time, and then I'll also give you the place where you can go give online. The phone number to call to donate to our Share-a-thon is 877-616-2396, or visit AFR.net.
Our theme verse for Share-a-thon is what, Ed?
It is Isaiah 44, verse 3. I will read the full verse. This is from the English Standard Version. For I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. That is the theme for our Spring Share-a-thon. The theme is Pour Your Spirit Out. That is the heart cry of many Christians, because we do know that our country is battling very, very dark ideas, and some of those ideas have been so corrosive. We see this in many of our institutions, many of our families, many of our communities. Our country has begun to be corrupt and corrupted with regards to human sexuality and abortion and so on and so forth. So we desperately need the outpouring of God's Spirit. And so that's the theme of our Share-a-thon. By the way, folks, the number to call for Share-a-thon is 877-616-2396. I'll give that number again here in just a moment. We ask you to be as generous as you can. We do have
and we know.
And we know if you're being
we have our ways of knowing.
As you can. That's right. You get that extra chicken strip, okay? We know about that. We pay attention. We do have some Spring Share-a-thon premium options for you. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive a book written by Stephen McDowell titled The Bible, Divine or Human, and the subheading is Evidence of Biblical Infallibility and Support for Building Your Life and Nation on Biblical Truth. Or if you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will receive that book I just mentioned by Stephen McDowell and our AFR embossed Padfolio, which is a fancy way of saying a very nice cover for a notepad or anything else you want to put in there. It zips up, and on the front it has AFR, American Family Radio, embossed. Be perfect for taking notes at church. And, of course, you can replace the pad. It is replaceable. So those are our Spring Share-a-thon premium options.
I remember the day when all we had to give out was tumblers. We've
Tumblers.
come so far.
Oh, I did promise I'd give the number out again. 877-616-2396 for our Spring Share-a-thon. 877-616-2396.
By the way, our AFR tumblers, they did do well in the Olympics.
Yes. Well, it's not easy being a tumbler.
No, I mean, they scored really high.
Yeah.
So, but we had to give them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
Anyway.
We give them out.
That's the way it worked.
We gave them out on Trivia Friday.
Yes, we did.
So
yes,
and we eventually ran out of tumblers.
That's right.
That's what happened.
No more Olympics for us. Steve, back to you.
All right. We just got finished before the bottom of the hour. We were talking about people who really hate Donald Trump. I want to bring somebody who has maybe a little different perspective on that. Last night, President Trump was at the National Republican Congressional Committee fundraiser. It's a committee that raises money to help candidates win election, Republican candidates. And one of the guests there was rescued hostage Keith Siegel, who was taken by Hamas on January 6th, a couple of years ago.
October 7th.
6th. I'm sorry, October 7th. What am I thinking? Oh, January 6th.
January
6th.
It didn't get that bad on January 6th.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyway, this is what he had to say about our president. Cut 9.
President Trump, I'm here and I'm alive. President Trump, you saved my life. You saved the life of 33 hostages that because of your efforts and you're setting the hostage crisis at the high priority of what you are doing among all of the enormous issues and things that you're dealing with since you came into your position as President of the United States. You set the hostage crisis at the highest priority. You got 33 of us home alive. We all owe our lives to you.
Well, and the president did make that a priority.
Yeah.
He threatened Hamas. He said, you let the hostages go, or we're going to unleash HE double hockey sticks.
And you just wanted to use hockey sticks, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, I just wanted – he used more forceful language.
I don't know
than
what
that.
hockey sticks is in Hamas language, but
Yes.
I'm sure that they use it too.
Yeah. Well,
that's a good story. It's in the midst of all the tariff talk and politics and issues and cultural issues, it's always good to have a story like that where a president takes individual people's, in this case, hostages, as a priority, because a lot of the times that's not as – it gets lost in the news. It doesn't get covered as much as the last 3 days of tariff talk has.
I doubt – I could be wrong. I would apologize if I was. I doubt MSNBC covered this man's statement.
Probably not.
You know.
I would be surprised, too.
Yeah.
You're listening to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Steve. Steve, next story.
I think it's time that we get just a little bit lighter in our coverage here. So
absolutely.
I want to talk to you about a town in Japan that is honoring its elders. It's interesting how they're doing this. I'm trying to find the name of the town here. The town has made playing cards, like baseball cards.
Yeah.
And they've put normal, ordinary citizens, elders, older people, but not any special older people, just older people in the community on these cards, and the kids are collecting these trading cards.
And they can play games
They can play games with them. The town is Saidosho, Japan. Anyway, so they have one, for example, that is a former fire captain. He's got a playing card, and then they have somebody that was, like a worker in the factory or whatever. These are just normal people, but the kids are collecting the cards. They're playing these games, and these local elders are heroes to these kids.
Can I trade two, Tojos?
You can. You might.
For one, huh?
You can. I don't know the rules.
Can you trade them like that?
Yeah, you could.
Like
I
baseball cards?
The game involves putting down cards, and I think you can lose cards if you lose the game and everything. But it's
so Grandpa could be one of the cards,
one of the heroes.
Yeah.
And listen, this was in order to increase not only the understanding in between the generations, but the appreciation on the part of the younger generations for what their elders do every day to make their community a better place.
Children are.
How's that? That was pretty good.
Yeah. Excitedly collecting trading cards from a game featuring middle to older age men who are community heroes in the town of Saidosho.
What about the women?
No, I don't know. They might have women too.
Okay, so I just had this brilliant idea. AFR collectible cards.
For show hosts.
For show hosts.
There you go.
And for people who work behind the scenes. And people can collect the entire set.
There you go.
We have what? We have 130 people working here.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good.
Is that like? Isn't that like a graven image violation or something? Or
Whoa! If they worship us, yes, but
I would no.
We don't go that far.
No, we don't go that far. No.
No, this is just a way to get to know. You know, we're always talking about putting a face with radio.
Yeah.
So someone will collect
a
vintage Tim Wildman.
Let's get a committee together.
Yes.
On that, and we'll mull that over.
How about a Tim Wildman rookie card? When you first came on board.
There's going to be a homeschooling convention somewhere, and these cards are going to be huge.
Hey, President Trump did it. President Trump had
Ed, have
those
you
cards.
not learned that you should have given that to Dad as his idea and let him? Because if it would have came from him as his idea,
No, that doesn't stop your dad.
Okay.
If a group here says, yeah, let's go with that, Tim's going to say, well, I was just thinking about that.
Okay.
I got
before
that,
you said
honestly.
something. Yeah. Anyway,
next story, Steve.
Kind of tongue in cheek.
You got the Speedy Gonzalez story?
I didn't bring. No.
Which sounds like Tim is being insensitive.
I'm gonna let.
This is a real thing.
I have to look it up. So
you didn't bring this story?
I didn't. No. That was Fred's story, and I should have.
Oh,
but
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't. But it is good. No. Let's talk about it. Speedy
Dad
Gonzalez.
can begin setting it up while we look it up.
Criminals are just.
I got it in front of me. Thank you, Brent.
Go ahead.
There's a shopper at Walmart who's been arrested over stealing stuff, what's called a trash can trick, and his name is Speedy Gonzalez. And
you're not kidding.
I'm not.
I'm looking on Yahoo News. It says Speedy Gonzalez accused of $20,000
Wasn't that a cartoon character?
Walmart shopping. Yeah. Yes, it was Looney Tunes. Speedy Gonzalez.
That's the guy's real name, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Speedy Gonzalez, a real person, was arrested in North Carolina after
North Georgia.
He was what he was doing. I probably shouldn't even mention this because it give people ideas. He was going into Walmart.
You don't have to give the how he was doing it. He got caught shoplifting a lot of product
with a garbage can.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, evidently this is a widely known idea among criminals out there already.
And now it's anybody that
I hope none of our American Family Radio listeners
needs
are
help.
tuned in to find out how to steal from people from us. But anyway, this guy, I'll take responsibility for it. Okay, this guy, we just thought it was funny that a cartoon character's name, Speedy Gonzalez, was the one arrested for he was putting a bunch of stuff in garbage cans, and then he was taking the garbage can up there and
with the lid on it, probably.
With the lid on it, I guess. Do you run a garbage can through a scanner?
No, they have those handheld. They have those handheld scanners.
So he's scanning the garbage can, taking it out the front door while a bunch of stuff he stole was inside the garbage can.
Yes, $20,000 worth. This was not at one time, but it was over several. The reason this is funny, it would be like a story about Elmer Fudd being arrested.
Right, Speedy Gonzalez.
Another Looney Tunes character.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to say, for the record, his actions were inappropriate. I think.
You feel the need to even add that?
He needs to reconsider where he's going in life.
Here's a Trivia Friday question for you. Which commandment did he break?
The one against stealing.
I think stealing.
Which is okay. Hang on. Honor your mother and father is 5. Do not commit murder is 6.
Stealing is going to be 7.
Adultery is 7.
Steal
is 8.
Stealing is 8.
There you go.
By the way, no one was listening, but I said that before you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, you said the
I did it.
8th commandment.
8th.
But now I have to be honest, and I said it very softly in case I was wrong. Y'all didn't hear it. So it's a win-win.
Quite sure of yourself.
Yeah.
Although you thought you were right.
And then the moment I was right, I was like, hey, y'all didn't hear me. I just said that.
I got it right.
All right, we're going to put that on your card, your baseball card.
Listen to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. And we encourage you to make a gift to American Family Radio and help us stay on the air and keep broadcasting.
About Speedy Gonzalez.
Expanding because Speedy Gonzalez, he's not going to give us squat because he got busted.
Right.
I don't think he was going to anyway, but he certainly is now. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't even have he doesn't even have a garbage can to dig in right now. You know what I'm saying? So we would just ask you, in all seriousness, to consider how generous you can be to help us out here in American Family Radio, because we need your help. We need your financial support. And let's hear from one of our listeners, and then I'll come back and give the phone number here.
My name is Lonnie. I'm calling from Humboldt, Texas. AFR has helped me out a lot. It helps me to keep in touch with the Lord during the day. It's a good reminder that God loves us, and it's a good teaching tool, AFR is. And they have current events also, keeping the people informed of what's going on. It's an excellent network. So I'm very happy that it exists. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, short and sweet. By the way, the number to call if you want to give to Share-a-thon, and I've got a challenge for you. Okay, we got a new challenge. Okay, I'm going to tell you in a second. 877-616-2396 is the number to call. It is our spring Share-a-thon. It's just the rest of today and tomorrow, and that's it, folks. 877-616-2396. Now, here's the challenge.
Not a match, a challenge.
Okay. No. It's just a challenge.
Oh.
I'm just challenging our listeners. So if you like my idea for AFA trading cards, give now at 877-616-2396. If, like Tim, you don't think it's a good idea, give now at 877-616-2396. There you go.
And would it be too confusing to give $1 if on a scale from 1 to 10?
No.
If you favor it highly, give $10.
Oh,
if
get
you
more than that.
If you disfavor, you give 1.
Yeah, we won't tell them what to give.
Okay.
I'm just
After
saying.
Johnny gets through with his $10, they ain't gonna buy a stuff. Ain't gonna buy a pack of gum.
All right, Susie Sunshine, come on, just get on the tariff talk.
I do have to tell you that the AFA playing cards have a leg up on being next year's bonus.
Oh, you mean the premium?
The premium, yeah.
It would probably be a good time to start thanking some people on a serious note.
Yes, good idea.
So I'm gonna thank. I'm gonna start here, and if I miss something, you fill in here, Ed. Dad, you just take a break over there.
I'm taking a break right now.
Larry from Texas, Debbie from Arkansas, Lena from Texas, Jan from Oklahoma, Bob from Ohio. Whoops, it just refreshed. Steve from Ohio, Jacqueline from Indiana. Thank y'all so much for taking the time to call in and financially support the work that we're doing here. It sure means a lot to us, and we want to take the time to just recognize. We got handful of states here. They're at the top. You got Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, North Carolina, Ohio, and Virginia are all at the top of the most frequent states that have called in the last hour. So
I like looking at sometimes the communities that people live in. So Patrick, who is given to American Family Radio during our Share-a-thon, from Canal, Winchester, Ohio. What a cool name, Canal, Winchester.
Sure enough.
And then Jacqueline has given, and she lives in Bringhurst, Indiana. Bringhurst. That's very interesting. I just like sometimes looking. Joni from Hawkeye, Iowa. Those are some great names for communities.
Yeah.
It's easy. It doesn't take much to entertain me.
You're listening to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. We're coming up on the noon hour Central Time. I know the folks in the Eastern Time Zone are in the afternoon already, but we thank you for listening. But American Family Radio exists because you financially support us. You are listeners. We are listener-supported Christian radio. You know, I can tell you this right now. Elon Musk and Doge, they're not coming to our offices. Why? Because we don't get any government money.
Right.
Why? Because we don't want any. And I don't think we'd get any anyway, but we wouldn't take it if it were offered.
And there's no fraud, waste, or abuse going on here either.
No.
Right. And the government gives money with strings attached.
Here's my point. The government gives money to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which has TV and radio. Some good people work for those organizations. I'm not castigating everybody.
Right.
But I am saying this, that when you take government money, you have to do what the government says, right? Well, we're not going to operate that way. We want the freedom to be able to say and do exactly what we want to do, namely to promote Jesus Christ,
right,
and the Bible, and Christianity, and God, and all those things. So we want the freedom to do that uninhibited and unrestricted. And the way we can do that, we just don't take money. We wouldn't take money from the government with strings attached. So that means that while stations down the radio dial get tax dollars to do their broadcasting, we have to raise our own money.
Right.
So our own money is raised by people who donate generously out of their own checkbook. So it's not, taxation is compulsory.
Yes.
Right? So, but our network is supported by people who give generously and they give sacrificially oftentimes. Amen?
Amen.
So we thank you for that. And everybody who's called in already, praise God that you've given to American Family Radio to help us. I would just say now, don't be a part of the procrastinators club.
Oh.
Huh? You don't want to be in that club.
Right.
No.
So don't wait till Share-a-thon's over and then you say, I should have called. I meant to call. I wanted my donation to be counted in the final tally.
Yeah.
Well, we need, so pick up that phone and call us now and let us hear how you're going to give to American Family Radio. Ed, if there's somebody listening right now who wants to do that, to give, or
absolutely,
how do they do that?
Here's the number to call. We have folks waiting just down the hallway.
They are.
They are waiting to take your call. 877-616-2396 is the number to call if you want to give to American Family Radio during our spring Share-a-thon. 877-616-2396. Or you can give safely and securely. Online. AFR.net.
At AFR.net.
So that's not technically interrupting. That's just parroting you.
What I was doing? I was supporting it.
He was very supportive.
I was standing with him.
Unlike
whatever
what he did when I came up with that, I'll say it, brilliant idea.
Yeah.
About
you talking about the AFR trading
cards.
Well, we'll consider it. We'll get back.
I doubt that'll get
we'll
off
circle
the ground.
back to you. Ed,
We'll circle back.
Yeah, circle back.
Thank you, Ed Psaki.
We got 4 minutes, Ed.
Okay.
What do you got?
Breaking news from our friends at the Babylon Bee. You know that Donald Trump likes to rename things. I think the tariff war with China is over. Donald Trump has broken China's back.
Okay.
He has renamed General Tso's chicken. It will now forevermore be called General Don's Oriental Chicky Nugs.
By the way, okay, my wife makes fun of me because I've always pronounced that chicken. That's my favorite at a Chinese restaurant. I always call it General Tso's, but how is it actually pronounced?
I believe it's so.
So, General Tso's chicken.
General Tso.
You believe it's so? So it is?
That's right.
That's why they're always laughing at me when I order.
Yeah.
I'll take some of that there General Tso's chicken.
Yeah. Says stupid American. Doesn't even know how to pronounce our chicken.
You know,
we'll take his money.
Can I tell this story? And by the way, I mean no disrespect to people who speak with a broken accent. They
speak one more language than you do.
They speak one more language than I do. But my wife and I and a couple others, we were at, this is 20 years ago. In fact, I think with my parents. So my parents were both alive. We took them out for Chinese food, and I loved the hot and sour soup that they have. And the owner came by, was saying, "Hey, do you like the food? And I called him over and I said, "Hey, will you give me the recipe for this hot and sour soup?" And he, in broken English, he didn't understand what I was saying. And then finally he said, "You mean how make?" And he looked at me like I was holding him up for the cash or something. He said, "No." And I said, "Okay, all right. I was just asking." But I was asking for the recipe of his soup, and he rightly told me.
It's like asking the Colonel.
Yes.
For the KFC recipe that's like hidden buried treasure or something like that.
You mean I'll make?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
One last time. 877-616-2396.
Okay, our 2 hours have come to an end.
They've evaporated.
On this day of Share-a-thon, day 2 of Share-a-thon. So who's up next? Todd? Brother Todd Herman's going to bring it.
Oh, he'll bring it.
Is he going to bring it for an hour or two? 1 hour, and then Walker and friends?
I don't know. I'm going to go eat some lunch. Yeah. I don't know who's up.
Are we having a terrasu?
Tiso.
Some
Tiso
chicken.
I think terasu's like a
tiramisu. You're thinking of?
Yeah, it's a dessert, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, on behalf of Ed and Wesley and Steve and company here, and Brent Creeley, our producer, I'm Tim. We'll see you later.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.